Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another CNC Router Mixer. Tonight, we're going to talk about things that are related to your CNC routers, your software, your projects, whatever it is that you want to do. You can join us by clicking the link that was posted inside of the CNC Router Tips group on Facebook. And just to keep things interesting, I will also post it here in the comments, and we can get going from there. So if you would like to join us, we do these on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we always host it here inside of the group. And I hope that you'll take the time to join us and enjoy the opportunity to speak with others who share your passion for CNC and want to get involved in your projects, everything. So there's a link. I just posted it. So if you'd like to come and join us, I see Kurt's coming in right now, and I hope that a few more will join us. Hey, Kurt, how's it going?
It's well, thank you.
Cool. Like the hat,
Yeah,
like an Aussie hat almost. Yeah.
this is the hat I wore while on patrol during Katrina.
Very cool. Yeah. Bunch of folks from my department came down there during that storm, and it must have been kind of surreal seeing cars from all over the country that came down and helped out during that. So,
Yeah, we had a state trooper from Kentucky get involved in a car chase, and they're roaring through town because there's no traffic. I mean, there's just
yeah,
three cars, two police cars and a bad guy.
yeah.
And they're roaring around town, up and down the streets. They finally got him stopped. The lights are flashing. He gets out and he's fighting. So the state trooper pulls out his axe, and it looked like a Star Wars movie because the lights were flashing and the axe was swinging through the air, and it would light up that axe because it was shining. What a view! Couldn't have
Mm,
made a better movie.
yeah. Hopefully everything worked out all right. I wonder what the guy was running for. Anyway,
Well, he was doing some things he should not have been doing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
There
know,
was there was a lot going on down there, um, but thank God, you know, folks got some help, and they're even today still getting back to normal. But gee, that was a horrific storm. Um, Spent some time today talking with a fellow who's just getting started with CNCs and about to buy his first router. It was kind of interesting, um, just how poor a job we do as an industry of explaining what the heck a CNC router is and what it can do, and you know uh, how much space it's going to take up, how much noise it's going to create, everything. It's just it's you and I have been doing this what 13, 14 years at least.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so we take a lot of things for granted, but when a new guy comes on, my goodness, there's just so many things they got to learn. They got to learn the computer, they got to learn the software, uh, more than one kind of software. Um, if they're building the machine, they got to learn all that maintenance. Just operating, is the thing wired right? There's just so many skill sets that you need to get going before you can even push cycle start. It's just kind of ridiculous, or even know that you're supposed to push cycle start. So yeah, just amazing, just amazing. But I think we got him squared away, and pretty quick he'll join us. Hey, there's Randall. We haven't seen Randall in a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, welcome,
How,
welcome.
how's everybody?
I'm doing well, thank
Good
you.
as ever.
So,
Yeah, we talk about, there's a guy down the road from me who wants to get into CNC, and I told him to get the third choice machine, not the first choice. It's- And then I also told him it's going to cost him twice because you got to buy tools and vacuums and all kinds of
mhm.
dust collection products. Oh, it can't cost that much. Well,
That's
No,
being
tell him to
underestimating.
price some Mazaks and some Comos, and
Yeah,
uh, that'll open his eyes a little bit.
yeah, yeah. The dirty little secret is that you spend as much in tooling and fixtures as you did for the machine. It just
at
depends on how
least,
quickly you do it.
yeah,
And
at
and
least
how
as
fancy you
much.
get with the fixtures.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, did I absolutely need a Pearson pallet system for my Tormach milling machine when I got it? Well, yeah, but but did I know it for sure at the time? No. It was I was taking a shot,
Yeah,
using the best advice I had at the time. Um, hmm, it's strange but true. Um,
but
you know,
conversely, I was able to do production work for 5 years using a Sears Craftsman vacuum for the hold down.
yeah.
Eventually, it did go up in flames, but we got 5 years out of it.
Hmm.
So best $69 I ever spent.
Oh yeah, I think I had a total of I went through a total of two routers, the actual router motor, handheld router from Craftsman, Sears Craftsman. Um, actually, am I my third? It doesn't matter. They were at the time they were like $69 or
Yep.
something like that. Maybe 99 by the time I got the third one, but they lasted. They uh, they had lights in the bottom of the spindle so you could see what you were cutting. There's a lot of good things about it. But it was noisy as all get out. Um,
Yeah, yeah, the fans in them things was not too user friendly.
yeah. Well, the Porter cable was louder, but
Yeah,
yeah.
the Hitachi was a very quiet one.
Hmm. Yeah, I never did get the Hitachi. I meant to. Now they're under the Matabo line, or I think that's how you pronounce it, or Matabo, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Same company makes them. Lowe's carries them still. Um, the box looks identical, except doesn't say Hitachi on the side anymore.
But they
Um,
were good.
yeah, they're still making them. Probably in another 4 to 5 years, you won't be able to find a router spindle with a plug because
Yeah.
everything is gone to using lithium polymer batteries. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see running 8 hours on lithium batteries.
no, definitely not. But the high speed spindles have come way down in price. I was looking at one earlier today. In fact, I posted a picture when I posted the announcement for today's meeting. I posted a picture of it. That was $137 on Amazon. It was a 3 horsepower or 2.2 kilowatt um, air cooled spindle. Um, that's getting pretty cheap. That's down to the price of the router when we started.
Right.
So I mean, you bought a Bosch router or a um, what was the other one I mentioned? Porter cable.
Water
They
cable.
were they were about 100 and change, 150
Right.
bucks. So now, other than the variable frequency drive, you're going pretty good. Hmm.
Yeah, but as soon
Yeah,
as you want to go ATC, then move your decimal point over again.
Hmm. Have you seen the ATC that Kelly has gotten?
I've looked at it, but I'd already gotten one, so I
Hmm.
didn't look that hard at it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept.
Hmm. Yeah. I think I would rather have like a one with a dedicated, uh, like maybe a BT30 or something like that, or
Yeah.
ISO something or other, um, rather than having all those um, collet nuts. But you never know. The system is works great from what I've seen. It's just
Hmm.
one more layer of complexity again. But I don't think I'm going to an ATC for the router soon. Let me put it that way. Uh,
I don't
yeah,
think I'll ever need one.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
once you get
yeah,
one, you'll never go back.
that is true. There, I have ATC on the milling machine, and that's fantastic. But uh, when you when you've got to go through 6 or 7 different tools to make your completed part, that's when it makes sense. But if it's 2 or 3 tool changes, you know,
Yeah,
uh, and you're only making one or whatever, it's not really worth the spend. But boy, the minute you start to make more than one of the same thing, and it requires more than one tool, the automatic tool changer is the thing. Yeah. So anyway, um, what are you working on, Randall?
Learning the 12.5 software. Um, I've got some ideas in the back of my mind, but I want to go ahead and do the full design in 12.5.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm probably going to dust off um, uh, the the desk proto software for some other interesting rotary stuff that I want to try.
Yeah, Taylor uses Desk Proto quite often. He likes it a lot. Uh,
Yep.
I just I just downloaded 12.5, um, mainly because it's been a busy couple of weeks since it came out. But um, probably by next week I'll be having more to say about it. It's
Hmm.
that's pretty cool. So yeah, there's a lot of neat software coming out right now. Um, 12.5 is like first on the list, and I've also am looking into some stuff from the folks at Lightburn. So that's going to be fun. Um,
Lightburn is a Lightburn is a complete package. I'm working with it, and there's more and more and more I'm finding that it can do. It's um, uh, yeah, it's going to take a while to become a guru with that.
yeah, they announced recently that they have a CNC package that's coming out, and they also have the Lightburn, a new version of Lightburn that's about to come out. So it's going to be interesting times for them. Um, I'm really looking forward to checking both of those out in a little more detail. Um, I'm talking with folks from that company to see if maybe they want to come and join us some night. So we'll see how that works. Um,
That'd be nice.
you can always invite. You can't always guarantee, but it's nice to extend the invitation. Um, so yeah, there's lots of cool stuff happening. I'm hoping to get my finances right to get myself a laser over the course of the summer. Because I think
How
that
big are you looking at?
I need at least 24-inch width on the cutting bed, but I can't. I don't think I can fit a machine any bigger than that in the
Yeah.
in the space
About
I've
as
got.
far as power.
Um, oh, well, it depends on if all the companies are coming out with hybrid lasers right now. They're coming out with a combination that has a CO2 laser and also has a fiber laser, or the diode laser and a fiber. You know, they're throwing all kinds of combinations at you. And um, if you had asked me 2 weeks ago which brand I was leaning towards, it was Thunderbolt. But then I saw all the other announcements, and I'm like, oh, this might be the time to wait a few weeks to see what settles. Tally sent me a link to a really nice offering that's on Kickstarter, but even if you ordered it, you wouldn't see it before Christmas,
Wow.
basically. Um, in Kickstarters, at the level that this company's at, I don't think it's a problem because they've produced stuff before. But Kickstarter has your money all that time, and you have to decide whether the discount that you get for being one of the first adopters is worth having your cash out there. So, I don't know what you guys think about that.
Well, if you
The
got a
last
few bucks laying around, is better than going to the lottery.
Hmm.
the last Kickstarter I did was an all or nothing one, and we'll see how it's going to pan out. But it's if they don't get full funding, then you get your money back.
Mm. Okay. Well, the one that Tally showed me is already 600% funded, I think.
Okay,
Yeah, they're
that's a
going.
sure thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're going through. The question is, how many million over what they were planning on will they suddenly be committed to manufacturing, and do they have the capacity? Because that's the bad part about Kickstarter. Sometimes a company can be too successful.
Yeah.
Glowforge was kind of that example, um, because it took them way longer to get those out than it did to take the money in. Um, it's just my opinion. Um, yeah. Um,
Well,
actually,
I'm more retired now, so I don't follow that stuff anymore. And I listen to you all because you guys all have the answers and you're up to date on all that stuff. And the first thing I think is when I hear oh, they're going to have a hybrid laser pretty soon. I'm thinking, oh, I got to have one. Then I think, nah.
yeah, yeah. It is tempting. I'll tell you. Um, it's very tempting to want one of everything that's out there. Okay, it's not just tempting. It's a fact of life. I want one of everything that's out there, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm busy purging because I'm approaching you know, I'm closer to 80 than I was a few months ago.
Hmm.
So,
So am I.
80, yeah. And I'm purging. Anything that hasn't been used in the last year is in the yard sale. And I made another $100 last weekend uh, selling junk. To me, it's junk.
Hmm. Trying to find a link to this thing that Tally was talking about, but here we go. Found it. Happy link. See if we can get a peek at this thing. I wanted to make sure it was, uh, direct into the right place before I switched over. So here we go. I'm going to enable the sharing. Uh, sharing the sound. So yeah, this is the one that Tally was talking about. Can we see the screen?
Now we can.
Yeah, it's the acceler laser, like kind of like accelerator, but I don't know. Excel laser HD1. It's got 3D Galvo head, which it's got these rotating mirrors that direct the beam every place,
Oh, man.
and it also has a your choice in different wattages of a diode laser. Um, so you can get it either with a diode laser and a 60-watt MOPA. I don't know what MOPA stands for, but all three of them are flying or have this flying 3D Galvo in it. And I'm just going to play wow, look at that. they, I think they're going to make their goal.
Master oscillator power amplifier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Um,
This is
no
not
idea what
just
that
a
does.
machine, it's your creativity accelerator. Introducing Excel Laser HD1. It's born for making advanced laser tools accessible to everyone. HD1 expands your creative frontiers, breaking boundaries for you. Combine the abilities of two lasers. This dynamic duo effortlessly handles any materials. Powered by the all-new hybrid synchronized motion system, we've achieved large work area at ultra-fast speed. Equipped with high-speed LiDAR, ranging and flying 3D Galvo technology, HD1 boasts efficiency with instant micron-level accuracy. It delivers true, high-speed 3D engraving never achieved before. HD1 ensures pixel-perfect accuracy for diverse production needs with its dual-camera positioning system. What you see is what you get. HD1 is
Oh, I
also
gotta get one.
compatible with Lightburn. Batch
Doesn't
processing
everyone?
has never been so easy and efficient before. HD1 gives your home business more options and the ability to earn more. Want to elevate your creativity? With the optional add-ons, HD1 achieves flawless 360 degrees surface engraving on 3D objects. Unlock the leap from 2.5D to true 3D engraving. Struggling with large-size projects? With the option of the conveyor feeder, HD1 further breaks through limitations in machine length. Need engraving and cutting in one job? HD1's innovative airflow switch ensures the clear cut you need automatically. Its fully enclosed design and multi-sensor safety system ensure comprehensive protection. Unlock limitless creativity with versatile accessories. With Excel Laser HD1, you don't choose between speed, size, or versatility. You get it all.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh, I gotta get one.
gotta have one. Gotta have one. So
Gotta
that's that's the Excel Laser.
Oh, geez.
Was such
Motivate me.
ooh, that driving sound of the motivational music and the cool pictures of all that stuff just makes you want to spend that money. Surprisingly, not as much money to be spent as you would think. It is a desktop size laser, but it has a 24 by 12 cutting area, which is pretty good for a desktop size laser. Most of them don't
Probably
cut that big.
about 3 or 4 grand for it.
No, 1,500.
15?
Yep.
So
Oh, man.
I'll share the screen again so you can look at
1,549.
the actual offer they're making.
Yep.
Uh,
I can buy one tomorrow.
yeah, but you won't get it till Christmas. Uh, well, November they say. But
Unbelievable.
yeah, so the way Kickstarter.
Yeah, 1,549 is the very, very basic model. Let's see what the full Megillah is. Let's
Let's
see.
see.
I'm scrolling down. So it looks like 6 grand if you want to get the 80 watt plus 60 watt MOPA.
Yeah.
Is that still the same footprint?
Same footprint.
610 by 305.
I think it's the same footprint for all three.
Yeah, it is.
305 not
So it's just power.
Where's
But
the
yeah, if you're
money?
going to cut 3/4 inch plywood, you're not going to do that with a 2-watt laser.
No.
Okay, wait, there we go. I was trying to find the screen with all the pricing, but it
Yeah,
seems
I've got it. I can show
Here,
it
I'm
to
gonna
you.
stop sharing and you can share it. since you
Sure.
already got it up there.
And share. Please.
Allow.
And then let's see. Let's do screen 3. So yeah, if you go all the way down to the bottom, the one with the big lasers is 6,000. But if you jump up to the top, the basic unit is 1549.
Mm-hmm. And
Which
you
yeah,
can hit
that's
expand the screen to get it to show a bigger picture too. You want it?
I can
I think so.
on this.
Yeah, just go to the full screen button like normal.
Thought I was in full screen.
I can see it. I
Yeah.
like that 3D object because you don't need a rotary.
Yeah, the LiDAR now that itself is pretty special because then you don't have to go and try and 3D scan everything to
Mm-hmm.
deal with it.
Now there was
It's
a
31% off.
YouTube creator who went to China. What is it? Shenzhen something.
Yeah.
The place where everything was made in China, basically, and got a tour of this. The riser table that they have acts in concert with the galvo laser for giving it the additional ability to raise and lower at the same time to hit different areas of the part. So it's not just a rise up and forget it, type thing that you have with most lasers. This thing actually is dynamic. It moves up and down while it's printing, so you can do some really interesting 3D effects and 3D cutting with it in place.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, so it just gets more and more convoluted because now that they've come out with this, everyone else will come out with whatever else is next. So it's going to be another revolution in lasers. I thought that Thunderbolt, that company, had done an amazing job by coming out with an inexpensive RF laser instead of a glass tube. Um, but now they keep combining stuff now. It's just amazing, the technological advances they're doing. I wonder what it's going to do for routers. Now that we see what they're doing with the lasers and with the 3D printers as far as mapping surface flatness and things like that. When will we see more of that in the home consumer router table?
Well, I just did 30 katana stands, and it
Mm-hmm.
took me less time with a laser doing 1/4 inch material than it would with my CNC machine.
Yes.
The setup time was almost none.
Yeah. You put the sheet of plywood in the machine. Yeah.
But the piece that, well, I'm using acrylic, 1/4 inch
Mm-hmm.
acrylic. You just lay the sheet in there and you set the dot and set go. And there's no clamping or nothing. You just run it.
Now, one thing, this new laser, that one, the combination of the diode laser MOPA and fiber laser, it's not great with clear acrylic. So you might want something different for that. But for doing water bottles or tumblers or keychains or most things with plywood, it seems to be fine.
Yeah.
My question is how will it work with balsa wood? uh, or do I just need to stick with CO2 and be happy?
Well, I cut 1/8 maple plywood, one pass, and it's pretty fast, and using about 25% power.
Yep. So it's getting interesting right now. I'll tell you. We got tools and AI and things that we never dreamed of just a few years ago, all converging on our hobby and businesses, and it's pretty cool actually.
Yes, it is.
Yep. So yeah, it's getting a little spendy though. Everything I want is between $5,000 and $15,000 right now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but I remember back when ArtCam was a $7,000 package, and now you can get way more than that in Aspire for 2,000.
hmm
So that's gone the
Right.
right direction.
yep, yeah. I think if you're trying to get this laser just for sake of argument with everything you need, um, at these early bird pricing, you're going to come close to $9,000, I would guess, because you're going to want all those accessories like the air purifier and the rising
Yeah.
table and all of those other things, and you start adding those up, because you were at $6,000 with just the laser as it came out of the box. So
The guys that are using an air purifier, I think they're poisoning themselves a little bit because they're still releasing vapor to your house or your garage or your shop. I think they should be venting it out to the outside.
yeah, yeah, I agree. um, hmm. Yeah, especially with the plastics and everything. Welcome, Milo.
Milo.
What's happening?
Like when Norm comes in. Norm.
Where's the beer?
Yeah. So yeah. Actually, he just passed away. Um,
George went.
George Wendt just passed away last week, I think. Um, so yeah, he's a good actor. He's a very good actor. Anyway, we were just discussing the latest way Telly has suggested we spend our money. I don't know if you saw any of that, Milo.
I just tuned in a little bit on laser.
Yeah. Uh, combination of a fiber laser with a galvo head and a diode laser all in one. Uh, the fellow on YouTube who actually got to use one of them showed actual cutting speed as he was doing a batch of um, nameplates and everything, and it looked pretty impressive. But of course it would. But the name of his video was "Is This the Future of Laser Engraving?" And then he went through and he showed this laser and what it would do. I'm going to see if I can go through to the part where he's actually cutting, rather than trying to wade through his hour-long video. Okay, it was 21 minutes, but you get the idea. So here, I'll share again. That looking full screen to you guys?
Yep.
Okay.
Or HD1, whether you're using it on a weird shaped item on the rotary, or you could use it in a more practical way, which I see as one of the most practical ways, and that's setting yourself up a fixture of tumblers inside the machine, mapping out the curve of each one of the cups, and then just running batch jobs for days. What I love about this feature is I don't have to worry about splitting the focus or using a 4-inch lens anymore, because I can just throw all my cups in that I need to be done, 3D print a fixture, you could laser cut yourself a fixture, and then just run the job, and that frees me up to go do other things in the shop, and then I can come back out, put another tray in, and run another job. This technology and the speed of this machine can greatly increase your output of how many tumblers you can do in a day without having to use any kind of rotary. But if you did want to do full wraps on irregular shaped cups, you could also do that too. Lots of
That's sped up,
capabilities
obviously.
here, lots of possibilities, and huge potential for making a lot of profit in one day because of all those capabilities and that technology. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the camera system built into.
Okay. Yeah, there's camera system. I wanted to, yeah, here we go. Here's where he talks about the actual speeds, I think.
And to tell you what I think about the Exolaser HD1. And I have to say that two of my favorite features of this machine and its potential to bring to my laser engraving business, it really comes down to two things. A lot of the features are amazing. They're very cool, very impressive, but there's two things that I want you to understand that this machine is capable of. First of all, because of the speed at which it can complete jobs and the Flying Galvo 3D, that is a game changer. It is going to allow anyone who has this machine to output many more jobs than they're traditionally used to with other desktop laser engraving machines. And what does that mean for you? That means more jobs completed in a day, more profit, more money for your laser engraving business. Just to give you a quick example, we ran this job of 20 aluminum business cards. Each one of these business cards were engraved at 23 seconds apiece. And doing some math really quick, that means that I can output 160 of these aluminum business cards every hour. And that is a true production level engraving machine, those kind of rates. That was very impressive to me. The other thing that I'm really excited about is the fact that this is a fiber laser. And of course, like we said, it comes in 20 watts or a 60-watt MOPA, but not just a fiber laser, it's a fiber laser where I have a total working size of 12 inches by 24 inches. Let me just let that sink in. I can use the whole bed and do fiber laser engraving on metal or some polymers and complete huge batch orders in record time, or very large, oversized laser engraved metal projects, and that is very exciting to me. I can't tell you how many times that I've had to just use my standard
Anyway,
fiber laser
you
to
get the
do
idea.
a huge batch of data plates.
It is just fascinating what they're coming out with. That's, just boggles the mind. So,
Things have changed, that's for sure.
certainly have. Yeah.
Yeah, my 60-watt CO2, she's been a pretty good animal. It's far as maintenance, I had 2 screws come loose on the bed, and that's it.
Yep. Hard to beat that, because I mean, there's not a lot of shaking going on with these. There's not a lot of spindle vibrations. There's not a lot of
Right.
the worst thing you have to deal with is smoke with these. So
Yeah, luckily that was the first thing I hooked up. I exhausted outside and test it with laser rubber.
yeah, so pretty cool stuff. Randall had bad internet connection. He may try again, I hope. Um, but yeah, he dropped off for a moment. So by now, you're probably Milo. You're probably an expert at um, 12.5 and V-Carve and Aspire now.
I haven't been doing a heck of a lot on it. I mean, it's just doing more on the 3D tab.
Mm-hmm.
But I did notice that Uh, usually, if you do a long wrapped vector,
Hmm.
did one that was 36 inches wide. So it took about 12,000 inches. And laying that over the top of a 3D model, it varies as to the different versions as to how long it would take. Back on 10.5, it could take over 30 minutes.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, maybe it's a computer. Well, it wasn't. Their calculation method, they were going up and down and up and down with it. It got down to 5 or 6 minutes. Well, now it's down to about 2.5.
Hmm.
So whatever structure they're using for their programming, they've improved it again.
Hmm.
Used to get a lot of blue spikes where it interpreted it as a whole, and instead of diving down to 0, it would go up to safe Z. And there used to be hundreds of those. Well, on that 36-inch wrap, it had one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they've improved that. Yeah.
Hmm. They're very good at sticking with it and making it better from each time. Uh, certain things have been um, just really nicely cleared up and made to work better, and they respond well when somebody like you who's a power user or whatever says, "Hey, that little feature is not working the way you think it's working, or it's not doing well." And next thing you know, they've come up with a patch for it. So yeah.
Yeah, I've, like most normal people, if you respond to them
Hmm.
intelligently, they respond back intelligently.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, uh, the long wrap time. I finally figured, this is going to be more effective if I use one of their profiles, create the model in their software, and that's all that's there, and say, okay, how long does it take you to wrap this? I said, maybe I've got something wrong with my hardware.
Hmm.
And they came back and they said, oh, that's a lot longer than we had ever tried.
Yeah.
Because I said, well, hey, if I'm doing a stair rail spindle, I said, that can be somewhere around 36 inches by the time you get the stair step heights
Yeah.
of the spindles. And they go, okay, we hadn't been playing with them that long. And I said,
Yeah.
well, that's if you can cover. I said, shoot, I got one that's over 6 foot.
Hmm.
So that it adds up after a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
3D is not simple.
yeah,
There's
the calculations that they got to be going through.
Mhm.
Uh, it doesn't have an adaptive type of thing depends on what the shape you're trying to wrap around. It does it, now that I got another frame of reference, it does the same thing on a 3D printer toward the top of a circle,
Hmm.
where the
Yeah.
loops are separate or different size. Same thing on the rotary.
Yeah.
As you can see the step over. And so I think all I need to do is in those areas, change it to a tighter wrap. And then
Hmm.
on the long pieces, loosen it up so you don't have to spend all that time.
Yeah. I remember back in the tens of this century, the early tens, I was back in school trying to finish up a computer science degree and trying to thinking to myself, hey, all these computer graphics, that's really cool. Let me check that out as long as I'm going. Might as well find out. Whew, if you don't have a fantastic grasp of mathematics, forget it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're most people have never even heard of a quaternion or you know let
But
alone how to use it, program it, and get it right.
that,
Forget
that's
it.
That's some kind of scientific thing or science fiction thing, isn't it?
No, no, it's a real thing. It's some pointy headed math guy understands that, but for the life of me, no. Um,
I can't even pronounce different equations, let alone do it.
yeah, yeah. So
Milo, are you using Intel machines?
Yeah, I got an Alienware laptop that
Okay.
I use.
how do you like it?
Is it an i7?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's several years old,
Yeah.
and it's got an NVIDIA. What is it? A 2070 or 2060 graphics card in addition to the onboard graphics card,
Hmm.
and it's been a workhorse. That it just keeps chugging along.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
I
At
could get
one
a little
time,
more.
yeah. At
I,
one time, I was involved with some of that software stuff, and if they're using Intel, they could take advantage. The software authors were taking advantage of the cores, and the more they used, um, took advantage of the cores of the systems, this software would speed up.
yeah, they
Yeah.
changed that what in 11 when they started using the graphics card and
Yeah. The GPUs and
as well
yeah.
as trying to use more cores out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2600 i7 they went to the onboard graphics card in the chip. So I don't know. I quit following it way back then, so I don't know the details anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to look. I guess I got 16 gig on RAM, 8 on the graphics card.
Okay.
And you know, I would be happier if it happened before I pulled my finger off the key, but I realize it takes a while. Friend of mine he's got a desktop and the video card is about that thick with all heat sinks on it. I mean, it's a massive plug-in card, but even on that, it can only go as fast as what they got it programmed in Vetric. His Autodesk products, they go flying.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got an HP Envy laptop, like 17-inch laptop or whatever, and it's got pretty good, but I realize now that it's pre-pandemic, so basically time for a new laptop. And prior to that, I had a Dell. Anything you say Dell is old now, right? Um, but I had a Dell workstation that I got in like 2011, 10, 11, around in there. And I got it maxed out, everything that you could get in it at the time. And it's still kicking, but boy, it's time to upgrade.
That's one thing I've noticed about computers. I think from the very first computer I bought, an old 8088, and then I added a
Yeah.
9086 to it,
Yep.
two 5 1/4 floppies, and who could ever need more than that?
Yep. Never fill them up.
Right.
And I think I've paid about the same amount of money for every computer.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, the capability has dramatically
Yeah.
improved.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I fly a lot of radio controlled flight simulators. And when I first got started in my, was it a 32-bit? No, excuse me, 32K, not bit. 32K computer. You were flying line segments, little vector helicopter, very rudimentary thing. And, you know, it looked great. Now I've got photorealistic, three-dimensional helicopters and airplanes flying around the screen. And they're actual uh, flying fields exactly as they exist somewhere in this country or overseas or whatever, photorealistic 3D representations. If there's a picnic table, you can crash into that.
Jeez.
It's just ridiculous. And it's all on basic laptops or whatever. There's nothing really special about the requirements for that. But if you had tried to do that back in the day, first off, you couldn't. But wow, if you could, it would be on like a Cray supercomputer or something, and at a military facility, maybe.
I was in a military flight simulator. I worked at them for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, an entire building full of electronic circuitry, including the computer and a 16K memory cards.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I mean, they were
Yeah.
14 inches square or 16 inches square, along with 10 megabyte platters.
Mm-hmm.
And if they added anything to enhance it, something else had to come out because they were using the max they could possibly use.
Yeah.
But it was realistic enough. They had 3 screens. And by today's standard, I mean, it's extremely rudimentary. But we got a pilot in there that had several years experience, got him sick, and he never moved an inch.
Yeah.
And
Just
he
from
had
the
the
motion.
canopy. Yeah, the canopy was open. I said, no, close the canopy so that you are convinced you're doing something you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And his buddy said, no, leave the canopy open. I said, no, out the peripheral vision, you're going to see everything standing still. Looking inside, everything's moving. I said, you are going to get sick. And he goes, nope. About 30 minutes, he said, here, freeze this thing, because we had a button you could just freeze it. He's looking everywhere. I thought he dropped something.
Looking for the barf bag.
He's looking everywhere but the screen.
Yeah.
And about 5 minutes passed, and he says, okay, yeah, let's do it again. And I release it. He finally got out about 5 minutes later. He says, I just need to know where the bathroom is in case I need it. Yep, it was interesting.
Yeah, we've come a long way. For me, because of my love of the radio control airplanes and all of that stuff, it's how I got into CNC in the first place. Trying to make parts. And I gotta tell you, I don't regret it a bit, except I wish I had made more parts. Instead of making more machines. Yeah.
Are you still flying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Matter of fact, they're hidden in the back of this Emperor's throne room are several airplanes. Hanging on the walls and everything. So yeah. See?
Yep. See him back there.
Yeah. Plenty.
Yeah. I haven't flown RC planes in a long time. First time we did it was back in, it had to be late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't flown RC since day before yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those I'm sure have changed just a tad as well.
Yeah. Somewhat. They're that was the simulator transmitter, believe it or not. They've gotten to the point now where the radios are so sophisticated that it's unreal. I don't know if we'll be able to hear this. I'm going to put my mic near it, but when I turn this on, this is a transmitter I got in my hand. It'll say,
"Welcome to OpenTX."
Did you hear that?
Wow.
Throttle warning.
It's always talking to you.
Yeah. It said, welcome to OpenTX for Open Transmitter. And then it said throttle warning because the throttle was up a little. So with an electric airplane, if you start it with the throttle open, Well, the motor comes on and could cut you or fly away or whatever if you're not ready for it. So it warns you about
Okay.
if
Well, that's
something.
been how long I've been out of it is they got
Yeah.
electric motors now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I flew my first electric aircraft in 1983. And at that time, it was a rarity. And people told me I was crazy. I should be flying gas, or globe powered planes. And that continued for another 5 to 6 years. And then it was like, well, I might try this electric thing. It's getting kind of good now. And then it proceeded to, yeah, I've got electrics, but I still enjoy the gas too. Boy, I haven't flown my gas planes in a while. And now I've got 47 electric planes because they're nice, they're clean when the whole
Well, the
9 yards.
gas ones were always a pain in the butt to get started, and you had
Yep.
to tweak more than you flew.
Yeah. Yeah. And see
Yep,
with it.
you got castor oil all over everything after they run for a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you had to spend, a bit of time after you were done flying with some paper towels and Windex cleaning off the plane and plugging
Right,
the hole in the muffler so that it wouldn't leak in the car on the way home,
right,
with the
right.
extra oil and stuff. So it got to the point where if I wanted to go fly right now, I'd grab any one of these airplanes and the battery. The batteries are charged already. Plug it in, turn on the switch, throw the plane. It's that long, maybe a little longer, but
Huh.
it's that quick. As soon as I got outside, of course. Uh,
Yeah.
Well,
I
I saw you
mean,
park. Yeah, I saw you take off in the grass the other day. That was a shocker.
uh,
You just took right off.
yeah, that plane, it just is well. It's got the right amount of power and the right size wheels to be able to do stuff like that. Um, most of my planes couldn't take off from that much grass,
Oh, oh.
but my helicopters and that type of plane is like a bush plane, and
now you got a camera mounted on them or anything?
I don't, but I have camera equipment that I was supposed to mount on them that I hadn't just got around to that yet. But
Well,
yeah,
I'd seen that one guy you were talking about that has these massive,
yeah, yeah. Tyler Perry and Rami RC. Yeah.
yeah, holy buckets. I seen him do what looked like a KC-10 or some darn thing. It was massive.
Yeah. He did a what is it, a global? Wait, no. It's a massive cargo plane. Um, I think it's four engine, four engine cargo plane with you know jet engine style. Um, Globe Master. Does that sound right?
Yeah, there's C5s, C-17s.
Let me look them up real quick. MERC. Um, he did. He's got quite a YouTube following. He just started a new one last week. It's a Global 7500 private jet. He just finished a Boeing 777 9X, and the one that you're talking about is the Globemaster C-17. Well,
Oh,
Boeing
okay.
C-17. Yeah. But
Huge.
yeah, just ridiculously large aircraft. Um, and Tyler Perry's a billionaire, if I'm not mistaken, so he can afford to have pretty much anything he wants on his private airfield.
Yeah, I seen the setup going to his house.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
it's just amazing. I would love to uh, go there and see it, but I you know I just have no idea How to make that happen. So anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that'd be a lot of fun.
hmm Trying to find a picture of the one that he just started taking his latest one. Oh, there it is. I'm trying to get one picture of a human being standing in the same room with this thing, and then I'll.
I seen one flying. It looked like it had a camera,
There
basically
we
up where
go.
a cockpit would be.
Yeah, they put multiple cameras on this. So screen share. This is the one he just started working on. He's probably almost done with it. There's a human in the background under this tail for scale.
Wow.
Just
Yeah, even
ridiculous.
the ones hanging up from the ceiling are huge.
Yep, yep.
See the
So,
C-17 picture back there, the third,
yep.
well, the first one, color.
hmm Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I can't imagine how much these planes cost.
Oh, just the engines.
Yeah. So, having scale landing gear like in that previous picture created, milled, and yeah, it's just ridiculous. Anyway,
Hmm.
um, cool stuff. Very, very cool stuff. Uh, that's the landing gear I was referring to.
Well, there's a lot of mechanics to that. Jeez.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah. So, and to hold up that much weight, they've got to be engineered. That's not just a throw it together kind of thing. Uh, anyway, just just amazing stuff.
Say if it's flying for any period of time at all, it's got to have a tremendous amount of fuel for the jet engines.
Well, no, those aren't jet engines.
Are those electric too?
Those are all electric.
Really?
Yeah. So Tyler Perry flies mostly electric aircraft now because uh, on his estate there's a lot of wildlife, and the other engines bothered them, and so he went to electric just because it's quieter, and they don't seem to mind.
Hmm.
Uh, like I said, he's a B billionaire, so
Yeah.
yeah, he can
You
do whatever he
gotta make
wants.
sure the rabbits don't get scared.
Uh, yeah, I think it's pretty cool that he even thinks about it. So trying to see if I had a picture of the electric motors as he was installing them. Yes, there we go. So I'm gonna share it. Am I still sharing? No. Yeah. We're going far afield again.
Oh well.
Anyway, this is the inside of one of the engine cells where he's gonna, you know, and you'll see this portion right up here is the impeller portion of the ducted fan. And there's an electric motor that you can see the three wires coming in, and it sits in the back here in the tube. And then the rest of that nacelle or
That
whatever that
looks
he's
like
put on.
he's putting some sealant on there. You telling me he's
It's
got to
glued in.
cut it apart to get that motor
Yep.
replaced?
Yeah. Um, Sometimes he does that, or he'll glue it in place, and then he will cut a hatch afterwards
Ah,
uh, for maintenance and things. But electric motors are very reliable. It's usually not the motor that goes; it's usually the speed controller unit that goes, or the batteries.
hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's just the scale of this thing is, and this is not even his largest plane. So
Well,
In
the
yeah,
my
one
case,
I'd seen, yeah, the one I'd
in
seen
my
on the
case,
video, geez, that was huge.
whatever goes is me crashing the thing. I don't have to worry about the engines going bad.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
See. Uh-huh.
Now, is this guy's shop on Tyler Perry's property?
Tyler Perry's shop is on his property, and he flies Remy in to build there periodically. This one they just got back from the paint shop.
Jeez.
The Boeing 7779 something or other.
A lot of attention to detail on that son of a gun.
Mm-hmm. This one was 27 foot long or something like that. Those wingtips fold up and down. This is it in flight. Probably.
Been interesting to see what it actually sounded like.
There's a portion of the tape where they showed it. I was hoping that that's what that's where we're at, but they were going for the glory music.
As you can see.
Here we go. Let's see. They have to power it out to the launch position. That's what it sounds like.
Huh.
Yeah, see, I wish they had turned down all this music.
Yeah, the wingtips are folded right now.
Yep.
Here they go down.
Yep.
Ready? Ready, ready.
Jeez, it sounds like a jet engine.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a tire?
74.
Or was that rain?
3 minutes.
I thought that was water. No?
75. 74. Gear up.
Yeah.
Flaps up. 75.
That's the radio talking to you. I don't know if you can hear this. Yeah.
Yeah, were they prompting for raising the gear?
Yeah.
83.
It's got telemetry in it, which tells you how fast,
gear is stuck.
what direction,
79.
the percentage of battery that's left, a whole bunch of other things.
What's with the nose gear?
Those gear hung up.
Yeah.
I would think his neighbor, well, of course, he's probably got enough land area. He doesn't have to worry about his neighbors.
Trying to cycle the gear.
Yeah. That's his house in the background there. This is still his land he's flying over.
Okay, gear is all down.
What part of the world is this in?
Atlanta
Oh, okay.
area. Aside from his house and the airport and all of this other stuff, he has an actual airport on his property.
You know
And
what's going on? I'm afraid the lights are blocking it.
he has,
Yeah.
on another piece of property, he has a full-blown movie studio.
Of course he does.
Might as well do it right.
Yeah.
Look at the detail on this thing. I mean, this,
62. 62.
you wonder why we're showing this, but he's got a CNC router in that shop.
57.
It's a Stepcraft, one of the bigger ones.
52.
Sorry.
Well, there's a lot of
Is she nose heavy?
45.
milling capability there. Gee whiz.
Yep.
Is she nose heavy? She's not flare.
And the guy in the
Oh,
black
no way, he has the nose.
clothes is Tyler Perry.
No way! Look at
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah,
They did lose a tire on the on the
You
way
want to
up.
say what happened? Well, we lost one tire and we put these lights last night, so they hit the bush rods, so did not retract. Oops. So we have to find a better place for the nose landing lights. But now we need to find better tires. These tires are terrible. Terrible. That's where we're stuck. Okay.
Or they figure they hit
A
something?
little too wide.
Yeah, they hit the landing lights that they just installed the night before. So
Some ugly tires
yeah,
right there.
so now they're
Anyways,
jury rigging it with
just
different
wait a
tires. That's the battery.
Can you put both?
I think he has
Well,
multiples
Ben,
of that. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to hit the hay here. I'll talk to you guys next week.
Great. See you, Kurt.
All right, Kurt. We can stop watching airplanes. Oh man, can you imagine having the dream shop like that? You know,
Oh, man.
having the ability to have made or to make everything that you want, and you know, just
Yeah, that's
yeah,
quite the deal.
you know,
Sure,
we've
I'm
got
sitting here having fun with a 3D printer,
Mhm.
trying to keep me occupied.
Yeah,
That
well,
type of thing. Wow.
we've got some amazing tools in our workshop. You and I both. Kurt, same
Yeah.
thing. You know, but that guy,
Well,
he's
and
got an amazing workshop. Yeah.
this darn thing, desiccant holder,
Mhm.
stick them in there. A few hours later, here you pull out a whole bunch of these darn things, and yep, it's amazing. You know, I know it's been out there forever,
Mhm.
but to me, it's new and it's an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's truly to the point now where um, they're combining so many machines into one that you know, we're almost to the replicator point. You know, give us another 20 years and who
Oh
knows?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
You know,
I
as
can't
to how
wait.
much faster these machines are getting.
Hmm.
One problem I was having on this machine, I was printing this with ASA, 100, what was it, 100-degree bed temperature,
Hmm.
250 head temperature. The set in the middle is perfect. I get out toward the edges and it starts curling up on me.
Yeah,
So I
because
don't
it's
know
not
if
as
it's an
hot.
uneven heating bed or
Is it
may
an
have to,
enclosed printer?
yeah.
Hmm.
And I may have to print something out on the edge
Yeah.
and see if it screws up out there or yeah, I wasn't sure if because there were so many pieces on the bed that by the time it gets from one side over to the other side, is it getting too cold to adhere back to itself? I'm not sure what to even think of what it was because this thing was printing out 8 pieces.
Hmm.
In the middle, it was okay. When I increased it to 16 pieces, the outer edge was not the same as the center.
Does this printer self-level or anything like that?
Yeah. Yep.
So it goes through and measures the entire plate before it
Yep.
prints?
Yep. And that was on ASA.
Yeah.
And so it was high temp stuff.
Hmm.
But I went back to just the 8 in the center, worked perfect 3 times today with
Hmm.
3 sets of 8.
Yeah.
And I mean, I am extremely impressed with the edge quality.
Hmm.
It's unbelievable how good of a quality it is. It was just on those outer edges.
Yeah. I I had similar problems when I was printing ABS. Um, I was trying all sorts of things, and the ABS would just curl up at the ends. And I think it really needed a heated chamber. Mine was just an under 3 open
Yeah.
machine. So
Yeah, this thing, I think the chamber temperature was 65 C,
mhm.
and and I mean it started to string and coming up and balling
Mhm.
together, and the uh, AMS unit is showing 10% humidity.
Mhm.
I dried it out and all that. Uh, I think I'll try to just do a print because it happened on the first, within the first 2 layers. And so I'm going to do a test cut just or test print out on the outside edge.
Can you turn the bed temperature up?
You can, yeah.
Okay. Um,
That might make up because I
that
don't
might,
know
yeah.
if the amount of material down there, if it's sucking some of the heat out or what it's doing. Wouldn't think so.
Now, it's usually when a part peels up, it's because it's either cooling too rapidly or it never adhered properly in the first place to the base plate. Um, Most of the times when I had parts lifting, if I increased the bed temperature, then I got a better print the next time. But there's a lot of variables, and I've never
Yeah.
used the plastic you're describing. You said ASA?
Yeah, it was a little hotter than ABS.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
what
I
was it?
printed ABS. That stunk. Uh,
Yeah, this wasn't very pleasant either.
yeah. Um, but the PETG or PETG, however you want to call it,
Yeah.
um, that's just hard stuff to print with the ender. Um,
Yeah, this ASA stuff in the middle, and it did a very, very good job there.
yeah. The other one that's hard is TPU.
I've
Uh,
yeah,
the flexible plastics, rubber tires or whatever. Uh, TPU. I don't know anybody who printed it the first time and got it right. Usually it was the second or third time before they got their settings right. But once you do, it's does pretty good parts. But, yeah,
yeah,
most yeah,
I've seen a lot of comments that people just get frustrated and says, "Yep, don't even do it." And I
yeah,
go, "Well, that sounds like a challenge to me."
yeah, yeah. What you do is you take your filament that you're comfortable with and you have it print a female mold, and then you uh, build yourself a rotational molding set. It pour your stuff in
Cast,
there, and now you're done. Yeah, cast it.
yeah, cast it. There you
Yeah, uh, yeah. Seems like a lot of work, doesn't it?
go. Yeah. Well, and
Probably not worth it.
it's not the end item that I get a kick out of. It's the process.
Yeah, yeah. Me too. On that. Um, I think I mentioned last week that I had gone to pick up some aluminum to make a fourth axis. I showed plans for it
Yeah.
last week. Yeah. Um, Meanwhile, there was another guy in the Tormark group who also went out and got some aluminum to make fourth axis, and he modified his and added pneumatics to it,
Hmm.
and it's pretty impressive. But at what point do you stop having a quick, simple project that does what you need to? Ooh, I could spend more and get that.
Yeah.
It's kind of impressive. I've not seen anybody else um, with this level of automation on their fourth axis. So pretty cool. But
Yeah. The main thing that I would automation would work the bed leveling
Hmm.
enters into a bunch of crap. Because there's a lot of torque,
Yeah.
and I just uh hard braced it to not move, because
Yeah.
that tailstock, it would shake in a heartbeat with a 3-inch square extruded
Hmm.
bar. I keep thinking that a dual rail system, I mean,
Would be best.
you still got to have a lot of support under there, because the
Hmm.
rails got to be sitting on some kind of a beefy tube or something to keep it
Hmm.
from twisting.
Yeah.
That doggone bit, when it hits the wood, it causes some vibration.
Yep. Deflection, vibration, yeah, all kinds of things. Um, your fourth axis is also more complex because it also tilts,
Yeah.
you know, trying to get that stiff. Uh,
Well, and that's where they have for years used a 3-inch square 80/20
mhm.
channel, and it's not enough. On a shorter run, you can get by with it, but even on their 5 foot, it's really not enough.
What do you think would be enough?
Yeah, I see you can get a 10-inch swing on the thing. I've been, most of the time, if I get a problem, I just fasten it down level and then cut from the side, so to do
Sure. Yeah.
tapered cuts from the side instead. But I'm thinking a dual rail with some kind of cross-membered frame in there. Anytime that you tilt that son of a gun, a lot of users may not even notice, but I can tell by the chatter marks that
Hmm.
you're getting vibration in there. The acid test was to see how small of a dowel you could cut. And
Yeah.
I was down to 3/8 of an inch at 37 inches. And that was stabilizing the tailstock. But yeah, I haven't seen a system yet that 100%.
What about adding some damping to the 80/20? Maybe fill them with epoxy polymer,
Yeah.
epoxy granite. Um,
Yeah, one of their frames, an early frame, they had a lot of C channel on it,
yep.
and it had an inherent vibration at about 160 inches a minute. Above that and below that was okay.
Hmm.
And I thought, okay, so you got a harmonic in there that you just hit a spot. I tried a little bit of everything. I actually slung some sandbags in, with straps,
Hmm.
figuring that it would counteract the vibration. Nope, it didn't do that. But I did find the best dampening was some horse stall mat, really hard
Hmm.
rubber
Yep.
under the feet, and that dampened out probably 80%.
Hmm. Yeah. Just hard to beat mass
Oh,
when
yeah,
it comes to,
and for how fast that son of a gun's moving.
yeah.
I mean, now with the box channel, I'm moving 2,500 inches a minute, and that son of a gun I got to look for any bit deflections, other than bit deflection, or that I can contribute to the machine.
Yeah.
The doggone bits, well, I mean, to me, the machines get blamed a lot for what the bit's doing,
Hmm.
especially on the smaller 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
Good grief, they flex.
Yep. Yeah. I've seen it. You know, the bit, and you would think that they would just flex in a straight line, but no, they kind of curve as
Yeah.
they flex. It's really weird.
Yeah, I think I showed you a long time ago. It was an 1/8 inch tapered ball nose. It was a long one.
Mm-hmm.
And I pierced 1/4 inch and went, it was about 300 inches a minute. And in that far, it deflected over the thickness of the bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it swung out and came back. I still don't understand why it didn't break it. There's a lot more strength to them than I ever gave them credit for.
Mm-hmm. It looks like we're about to be invaded.
Yeah. Takes a little while longer to get the signals from Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that doggone 3D printer it's just another CNC machine that you got to play with all the variables and get as best you can. Ned.
Evening, Ned.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good,
You know how
good.
it is. We're just a little slow down here in Australia.
Looks
Yeah.
like it's colder down there now.
Oh yeah, like it's when you got no hair, you got to sort of like do a little bit of protection. Otherwise, you end up getting a headache, sort of thing.
I have
And
no
it is
idea
a
what
bit.
you're talking
It's
about.
starting to rain. Look, you gotta feel sorry for all those people with hair with all that fertilizer under there, keeping it nice and thick.
Oh, you haven't seen me from the back. So
Here we're the 3rd of June, and I think we hit a high of 45 today.
yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. So
it's the
how
3rd
long
of
ago
June
did you
and my
guys start?
furnace is still on.
What's the time now over there, guys?
It's 8:30 basically.
8:30. Yeah. Okay, so no, yeah, I've made the tail end. I'm done for the day here. I'm just packing up and I'm ready to go home.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys keep going, I just thought now that I finished, I'll join in.
Yeah.
And I'll be in the car in a second. I'll just sort of like, you guys keep going.
Yeah.
All right.
We're
I can hear.
we're here. Yeah. So
very, very good.
yeah, I don't know, man. There's just so much that I've got to clean off the top of my router table.
Oh yeah, you gotta.
Embarrassing. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of nice to be able to shift focus and keep from getting burned out on any particular thing.
Yeah. Yep. Well, part of the problem is those dark doggone electric lights that are sitting there. Those light bulbs I spent all that money on. But I will tell you, these instructions kind of suck. They gave me a nice diagram. We'll try that again with no background. But let's see, just background, none. So it gives nice wiring diagrams. I know you can't really see that, but
what is this for?
For LED lights instead of fluorescent.
Oh,
So,
okay.
But the problem is in none of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different diagrams do they have the configuration of light bulbs that I have, where I have four LEDs per fixture, but they're 2 and 2, each 4-foot tubes, and these particular bulbs function with, let's call it a line and a neutral on either end of the bulb that lights it up. Okay. But so if you're in a where they're all side by side, simple. Okay. But when you want to go from the neutral on one and start the next sequence, it just doesn't. Just doesn't work. You can't do them in like I guess that would be
So you're trying to daisy chain these in series?
yeah, yeah. So I don't want to let the magic smoke out or the magic lightning in. So so I may just end up buying new fixtures, but it seems a waste.
Now
Um,
they were not using the fluorescent ballasts.
right. You get rid of the ballast now. Yeah, these are just direct connect. I did up a little diagram of what I thought might be the proper way. But, yeah, it's kind of hard to say. And but yeah, so that is the reason that I'm stalled from taking the rest of the stuff off the top of the bench,
Yeah.
because the idea was get those up into the ceiling, and then there's uh, pretty much nothing else on the table other than those lights, and
I tell you what,
a computer.
I like
Yeah,
a lot of light.
me too, me too. And I'm
I
getting
think
to the point where I have to replace ballast or I have to replace the bulbs, and I'd rather replace the bulbs with LEDs. They're brighter.
well, and in my garage, I had, finished off all the sheetrock, painted it gloss white,
Mm-hmm.
and to where I can get all kinds of light bouncing around out there. I finally went to just a 100-watt LED bulb,
Mm-hmm.
just the typical screw-in bulb. I think I've got 4, 8, 12, 16 lights out there.
Mm-hmm.
It lights up.
Yeah. Do you use the daylight bulbs or you
Yeah, the white.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um anyway, it's just one of those things. Since I bought these bulbs, it's over a year ago.
Yeah. Well, they get better with time.
Sure they do. But I'm sure that they have better solutions now,
Yeah.
you know. But it's that these thinking things were expensive when I bought them. They're probably dirt cheap now.
Yeah, you couldn't give them away.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I helped a guy put up some shop lights. They hang at 12 feet high.
mhm.
And this is in a 4,000 square foot shop. And it hurts to look at them. They are that bright.
Mhm. Yep.
And yeah, it's amazing. Even on something so silly as lights, the technology, the improvements.
Yeah. Yep. I guess prior to maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they were having difficulty making an LED light that was actually white, displaying as white. They were all displaying as blue.
Oh, okay.
And then they figured out a way to make it happen. And that's when things went crazy, when LEDs started appearing everywhere. So I think it's pretty cool. There was like a whole series on I think it was Discovery Channel or one of those science related things where they were talking about the search for the white LED.
Well, and they were used to get, well, I put in some for my son. We redid his kitchen, and all of them had selectable,
Mm-hmm.
as to whatever color you wanted.
Yeah.
And he works in a hospital, so he's used to white light. His
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend, she's used to the
Soft white.
soft white. And I'm
Yeah.
going, okay, why isn't there a control down here to do that rather than up there?
Mm-hmm.
The dimmers, a lot of them are dimmable, where used to be you only had a certain limited amount that were dimmable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's come a long way. I used to
They're,
make those LED acrylic signs, side lit
yeah,
signs, and things like that. And they have the RGB um, LEDs, and you could set whatever color you wanted, or have them cycle through, and it was pretty pretty impressive stuff. But now it's even better, even simpler.
Yeah.
Apps on your phone, you know.
Yep. Well, yep.
Yeah.
You don't even get a remote anymore. It's just an app.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So kind of cool. I'm trying to remember which spy movie it was where the guy was a notorious ladies man, and he used to have a remote control when he sat down in the room or whatever that turned on the fireplace and dimmed the lights, and bed popped out. I can't remember exact details,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking what what the modern guy with with the phone app.
Well, yeah, because I'm sitting here with a couple Google doorbells,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a monitor here in my shop, and if it sets off one of the cameras in front, I can just say, "Hey, show me the front door," and it
Mm-hmm.
pops up. And I don't have it to where I can pan the camera, but I thought, okay, I don't really need that.
Yeah.
But it used to be, how do you wire up a house to what you could possibly want? Well, now you don't have to worry about that either. The
Yeah.
wireless capability, the solar charging panels, and
Yeah.
and the cost is pretty reasonable, actually.
Yeah. Forget about putting Cat 5 in the house or Cat 6 or whatever cat they're using now for wiring.
Yeah.
No, for the most part, the modems and routers and things or switches are so fast now that
Yeah.
probably not worth your while.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because shoot, I ran telephone. Of course, my house is 28 years old, and I had coax cable to every room, had phone cable to every room, and hardwired for security to the windows. None of that. Yep, there's just a bunch of wire in the walls that isn't used.
Yeah. I wish it was easier to get the wire out and sell it for surplus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's entire gangs out there going around just ripping wires and pipes out of people's houses, just to sell it. Yeah.
Yeah, that PEX piping.
Yeah.
Years and years and years ago, decades ago, they did a deal on the reservation, on the Indian reservations.
Mm-hmm.
They were having trouble with copper.
Mm-hmm.
And so they put in this plastic pipe. Well, there was a few chemicals in the water that started eating out the corners and blowing out the pipes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even seen some of the problems with PEX.
Hey guys.
Hey, Ned.
I happened to pick up a few pieces of veneer to take home there.
Yeah, just
today,
a couple.
and a few bits of veneer and some walnut there and some oak. That was all going to go in the bin.
Does the boss know?
Yeah, it's been saved.
Yeah.
Around here, you go to a construction site, and their trash bins, they got 4 to 8 foot 2x4s that they threw away.
Mm-hmm.
You're going, okay, that's.
Look, they won't. You won't see that in Australia. Jeez.
No, you see it all the time here.
Yeah, that's the one. They're not paying for it.
Yeah. You do, Ned? Forget to close the back door?
No, I'm just watching my Bluetooth switch over, so I just like it before I leave, sort of thing, and putting my little headset away.
Hey, other than driving on the wrong side of the car.
Cool. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's saying hands-free outgoing call, but it must be interpreting that with a Zoom meeting. I haven't seen that before, but anyway, okay.
That we can hear you anyway.
Yep, that's the main thing.
What kind of vehicle you driving?
Hyundai iLoad.
Okay. Yeah.
It's actually an iMac, but I've taken the back seats out.
Yeah, very cool. A lot of storage for wood.
I use it for I use it for work normally. Like I don't do really like great stuff, but I also use it for camping. And the iMac is a people mover that's fully insulated and fine, so it's like driving a car,
Mm-hmm.
but you're in a van.
Okay, I got a question for you. What's the normal speed limit down there?
The normal speed limit in built up in residential areas is 60. Arterial roads are 70 and 80. Highways are 100 and open highways are 110
These are kilometers.
Yeah, so that's about
kilometers an hour.
110 is about 70 miles an hour.
A little less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 66. I think 110 is like 66, maybe.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Somebody's going to want an actual here. I can give that to you.
68.36.
Mm-hmm.
I just happen to have it up here as well.
Yeah. It always faster though.
Yeah, I was driving down through Texas, and a lot of that was 80 or 128.
I don't remember how fast we were traveling through Texas. I just know there was a whole lot of nothing between where we were at and where we were going.
For a long time.
Yes. It was quite a trip. I would do it again, but preferably in a helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what brain cell was malfunctioning those days when I said, "Oh, sure, we'll fly into Houston and just drive down to Boca Chica."
It's a long way.
It's a very long way. Yeah, that's a whole day. Well, not a whole day, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we took a road trip, a couple of us, from Colorado to San Diego, and we only drove for about 8 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And but you get down into the reservation on Navajo Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Good grief, there's a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, what's really bizarre.
Well, we've even got more nothing here.
Say again, Ned?
I said we've got even more nothing here. Australia is about the size of America with like a tenth of the population, less than a tenth of the population, and it's the same like amount of land. And the whole middle of Australia, once you go around about 200 to 300 kilometres inland, the rest of it is all just bull dust
Mm-hmm.
and dirt, rock.
Yeah, I'd seen a lot of comparisons of the overlay of Australia and the US, and talking with people from England, until they start driving to some location in the US, they're going, good grief, it takes forever. Well, it's a lot further.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It just seemed to go, Texas seemed to go on and on and on and on and on. Then you find out that the city of Houston is roughly the size of the state of Connecticut. Yeah.
I was out in the Boston area.
Yeah.
Rented a car. I forget which airport I flew into. And the guy asked me, he says, well, you're going to take the car out of state? And I said, well, you can't turn around out here without hitting another state.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts laughing. I said, well, where's the nearest state border? He says, about 2 miles.
Yeah.
I go, well, yeah, I'm going to leave the state. Because I couldn't figure out what it was about, but it was something about insurance, I'm guessing.
Yeah. They charge you more.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, I had a bit of a fun one yesterday, and I recovered from it today. We, for some reason, the CNC over here where I was today went out of square. It was out of square by a good 2 millimeters. No, sorry, 2 millimeters over 800 over just over 2 foot. So yeah.
Figure out what happened.
Look, we suspect that we did have 2 crashes. One wouldn't have done it. Don't know how the second one did it. All it did really was the tool hit the tool post height, the tool height post sensor, whatever. Smashed that up, but it sort of just tore it up and it destroyed the tool, and it wasn't really, shouldn't have caused any, shouldn't have taken it out of alignment. But that was on the Blue Elephant with the 9-foot wide gantry.
Mm-hmm.
To square it up, I had to unbolt the gantry and bloody push that over.
Yeah,
Wow.
the guy called me up that his Z axis stopped working. And that's all he told me. I said, okay, tell me a little more here. Is the shaft turning or not? Or is nope, nothing's moving. And I go, what did you do? Because they never tell you that part.
No.
Well, he buried a tapered ball nose in white oak. And I think he buried it 1.5 inches deep. And I said, okay, now you were moving while this was happening. He goes, well, not real fast, but it went down and pierced it. And I said, well, these drivers have an automatic kick out to protect you from yourself. They're lead shine drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, have you shut it off and turned it back on yet? No, he said, I was afraid to. Turning it off and back on resets the driver. I said, you're going to have to do that anyway. And sure enough, it took back off again. But he said, did I knock it out of alignment?
Tram? Yeah.
I said, it depends on how fast you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, yeah, it scared the daylights out of me. I said, don't worry, it'll happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, he got off lucky, no fire.
Well, and he didn't even break the bit. So he wasn't going too fast. He just buried the Z because I thought, okay, if he buried it good enough, then he would have kicked out either the X or Y driver as well. But,
yeah. Yeah, it's when you hear that, you know it's all over there.
I'm very impressed with how strong those tapered ball noses are. You know what I mean? Like, they can bury themselves into a lot of material, cut through a lot of material. I've had a couple of whoopsies in them and with them, and I was just mind boggled as to how strong they are. Like, if I tried to cut with them that way, I'm sure they would have broke. But
they're a lot stronger than given credit for.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason the pyramids were made in a triangular shape.
Yeah.
Pretty strong. Yeah.
Well, to bury it deep enough to kick out the driver, and it was a 1/16 inch tapered ball nose. So it came down to a pretty good point. Probably didn't break it because he did bury it, and got the whole shaft in there.
Yeah. It probably rubbed against the collet nut or something, then it stopped. You know,
Yeah.
whatever. But hmm. Fun.
Well, and I was just shown a job that I've got to prepare for or to do a program for. There's a company that does, people talking about it, it's a company called New Age Veneers,
New
and
Age.
we're doing some promo stuff for them, and that's that specialty veneer stuff with the coloured MDF, etc. They do stuff like that. It's the repeatable wood grain, fake wood grain. But they've got some textures they want done, and the one that's going to be an interesting one, this is going to be a mindfuck for people in the displays as to how the hell it was done. And I'm going to be using the tapered ball nose and do a 3D carve on the angled cut for it. But if you imagine a box like a square cube, and on one side of the cube put another boolean out another small section out of another rectangle, so it acts like a book holder. So basically it'll have a 45-degree cut all the way through halfway through the cube. But we've got to do the veneer, so the veneer finishes up nicely. So the inside angles are going to have to be beveled.
Okay.
So it's going to be an interesting build.
I translate the word interesting into profitable.
Look, with the stuff that this guy does, there's no rush on the time. The stuff but it all goes to architects. It generally involves architectural work, and they just pay ridiculous prices for that stuff anyway.
Well, Ned, you got my attention to my telephone. It started talking to me that it couldn't understand what I meant while you were talking.
Did you tell him I wasn't talking to you to start with?
Yeah.
What were you guys talking about lights earlier on? What type of light?
LED shop lights.
Oh, okay. Well, like as in a high bay light?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what a high bay light is.
Like remember before they used to have the mercury vapors in the warehouses and stuff like that?
No, these are more like replacement tubes for fluorescent lights. Like a T8. Yep.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, I bought some the ballast were going out in the light fixtures that I had, and when I went to look to replace them with LEDs, the guy says, "Hey, yeah, they make these that you don't need ballast anymore." And I said, "Oh." And so I bought a case of them, and I was going to replace all the shop lights. Yeah.
Well, when you do put the LED T8 tubes in, they don't use ballast anyway. The starter that you put in bypasses the ballast.
Yeah. Yeah. So these have the starter and anything that you need built in. It's just all it needs is line voltage on one end and
That's it.
Yeah, basically. Just trying to figure out how to daisy chain them.
Okay. Like RGB LEDs and that. I've been looking at like some of the from a signage point of view with the animated RGB LEDs. You can buy a few of them, the individually addressable ones. That's actually quite fascinating. I've just ordered 4 or 5 meter rolls of the LED per meter to have a play around with. But you use a thing called WLED. It's a STM32 or a little Arduino-based driver, and you can group the LEDs like they're in a continuous serial string, and it by the timing it knows which LED is along the string, and you can do virtual strings and stuff like that. Then it'll apply animations to it and so on, and you can and this is also where it comes to doing they call it pixel display or pixel animation, pixel art. There's so much you can do with it. I can't wait till I get my strings of LEDs to give it a try.
Yeah, we put LED lights, RGB LED lights on our radio controlled model airplanes so that we can fly at night and pitch black. So,
Okay.
So I've got rolls and rolls of this stuff, and it's pretty cool application for it. We have contests.
Are they the individually addressable ones, or just the ones that are? Because you've got RGB, but then you've got RGB that's individually addressable.
We've used both. Most of the guys don't bother with RGB addressable, but some do. There's one guy who has his lights on all across the bottom of the wing of his aircraft, and when he's flying at night, it forms up an eagle wing pattern on the bottom of his plane, and it will go back and forth between like 2 or 3 positions so that it looks like the wings are flapping, stuff like that. Yeah, it's all kinds of cool stuff. The helicopters, they have RGB addressable rotor blades that use persistence of vision to change what you see. So like it'll spin and you'll see like Bart Simpson in the air, or whatever, and it'll change to some other shape, maybe a butterfly, or
That would be cool. That would really be cool.
Yeah. Crazy stuff out there. You want to pay for it.
Well, they've got new LED panels as well. Like you get panels that have got like a matrix of LEDs that you can put onto a shop front window and stuff like that. You can do like waterfalls and it's going insane what you can do with those RGB lights now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to put those in the shop though.
No.
Get you dizzy.
But that's the contemplation. I have seen something similar that they do as a display where it just spins normally like that, and they can display video and stuff on it. That would be really interesting to see on a helicopter blade flying.
Yep. Yeah. The first time I saw it, I freaked out. I was like, "Whoa, this is the coolest thing since sliced bread." And then he told me how much he had paid to get that cool thing in the air, and I was a little less enthusiastic.
A little bit more than the loaf of bread.
Yes, yeah. But I'm sure the price has come down quite a bit since then. But just amazing.
I'm pretty sure that's done with the WLED, and what you're looking for is pixel art.
Yeah. Yep. There's so many cool things to experiment with. So little time.
I've only just started looking into the individually addressable LEDs, and I did a $100 order of LEDs last night. So I'll be doing a bit of a play with it shortly.
Yeah, that won't be your last order, by the way.
It probably won't, no.
Okay. Because your next order is going to be all those connectors and things that you didn't know about the first time that make it so much easier.
Yeah. Right? That's what chewing gum and Band-Aids are for.
Yeah.
Duct tape.
Well, they make these little plastic clips that have metal contacts in them. so you don't have to solder together the LED string threads anymore. You just clip them together.
I'm pretty sure I know. I've got exactly the ones you put. They're like orange and they're like three colors. They're like little levers that you push up, push your wires in, and flick it down. Is that the one?
Well, that's one kind, but no, they've got a little connect. You know how there's like on the RGB LEDs, there's three connectors at the end of each segment. These
Yep.
clip on to one side, and you slide another lights in the other side. Now you've got a longer lighter.
Oh yes, I saw a YouTube, and you cut the LED, and you can do the corners and stuff like
Yep.
that as well. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
the other day on one of those YouTube shorts. Yeah. Yeah, no, that looks interesting as well. Yeah, there'll be some more money spent. Don't worry.
Sure. You know, and then you got to pimp your router. You got to put LED lights all over your router.
Actually, I don't believe in doing stuff like that. I just find that a waste. If anything, it also causes interference and more bloody errors. The high frequency operation.
This from the guy who put spinners on the Royal Coach.
And I did want to put LEDs in that, yeah.
Yeah.
What was I going to say is yeah, no, look, the most of the stuff that I play around with is like, for example, when you, and this is one of the things, I don't know if you guys remember, but I used to say, so are you guys making any money from doing these bottle openers and stuff like that from the market? So I just don't see the money in it. Where I've made my money is you learn how to build the CNC and fix it, do stuff to the machine. Then you go and get the job to do it. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm actually subcontracting to other people, and I'm just playing at home. Mm-hmm. And this is the same reason why I'm getting into the LED. Not to pimp any of my computers, TVs, or anything at home. But one of my customers that I set a CNC up for recently, they're a sign writing company. And I mentioned, do you guys do LED lights? He goes, we'd love to, but that shit's just out of this world. It's beyond us, sort of thing. So the way that I'm seeing it is once I figure out how to do it, they'll contract me to come in and show them how to do it, or even get me to do the programming for them.
10 years ago, that stuff was complicated. Now it's simple.
Yeah.
I think Tally is the one who has one of those channel box bending CNC machines. I think, isn't that Tally? Where he can make the letters with thin gauge aluminum. They all bent to shape.
I don't know what he makes it out of, but I know he was making those.
Yeah. So, you know, that's a machine now that you can just go and buy, you know, and suddenly you're in the sign business making these, you know, the Arby's sign or the, you know, whatever. They're all the same.
Now the fake neon light shaped.
Yeah.
LED
EL wire,
lights.
I think it is called. Yeah. Yeah.
So the way that I see it with the AI coming out, a lot of jobs are going to become obsolete. There's so many jobs that AI is going to kill, and a lot of those jobs are in the professional niche industry, like welders, translators, graphic designers. All of those jobs are going to be made redundant, or the repetitive side of it at least is going to be made redundant. And the way that I see it is the one niche that I have is I'm multi-skilled as far as electronics, CNC, design, and so on. So I'm going to slut myself out to do niche programming and so on to people that want to do the individual things. Because AI can do one thing, but it hasn't yet combined multiple roles or multiple professions into one yet, and that's the biggest saving grace I'm finding with what I do.
Look, I don't care what you say. There's always going to be a market for a buggy whip.
Just a fancy buggy whip.
Yeah.
If not in a buggy, at least in the bedroom.
And there goes our G rating. But, yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of turnover on jobs and things. Who needs I don't know. Let's talk about cartoons for a second. Who needs the voice actor if you can get a computer to do it?
Yeah.
Have you heard some of the AI translations
They're
that
terrible,
they've been doing?
but they'll get better.
I think that they're actually rather good. They're actually translating a lot of the particularly when you listen to stuff from United Nations and so on. I'm sure there's a bit of money involved for the service, but there's quite a few really good translations, and they're speaking in the person's tone of voice and everything. So it's a Spanish president or something that you're hearing in English with the accent and in his tone of voice. It's quite good.
All I know is I downloaded a book from Audible the other day, and it said this is an AI translated book, and I listened to about a minute and a half of it, and then I refunded. It was like, nope, sorry, cannot do this. I want to hear this book, but not that bad.
Yeah.
I'll read it. Yeah. Well, it is after 9. So we probably should call this quits here pretty quick, unless we've got anything else CNC related. Just can't wait.
Yeah. Nope, I'm doing good. So.
All right. Well, Ned, thank you for joining us from Australia tonight. We appreciate you more than you can know.
Where's that camera rotating thing? I'll give you the taste of. That's Australian weather.
All right, that looks like here.
Yeah. Upstate New York, right there.
I can hear sirens around me. Police sirens. It's raining. It's yeah.
Welcome to Sydney.
Yeah.
All right,
I can hear them, but I
can't tell where they're coming from.
All right. Catch you later, guys.
Have a good one. Every
See you later.
Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Join us next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye.